I should say I've never really had a plan. I have just said yes to opportunities.
A lot of what Ken does is on a grand scale. Painted glass windows. When you look at them, they feel like they're surrounding you.
I went to college at the Rhode Island School of Design to study illustration. I was doing drawing and painting, which I had done for a lot of my life up to that point, and I was home in my apartment having dinner, and a little voice came into my head and said, "Ken, change your major." So I said to the little voice, "What should I go into?" And the response was, "Go into glass." So I learned to blow glass and cast glass, and I learned the basics of stained glass. But as I was nearing the point, like my senior year, getting ready to graduate, stained glass began to make sense in a way to reconcile my abilities to draw and paint and render with also working in glass. The older tradition of stained glass goes back to the way that stained glass was being made for the medieval cathedrals. And it's working with a different type of a glass. So that glass is actually a transparent color that's allowing light to come through it. What makes stained glass different from painting on a canvas is that you are really modulating the light that is coming through the window or whatever it happens to be. And also I kind of set myself up to specifically work with architectural stained glass. The pigments that I work with are made from very finely ground up particles of glass and metallic oxides. And the main difference is that the different colors will fire at different temperatures. So the way to think of it a little bit is the way that ceramic glaze goes on to a piece.
One of Ken's first large commissions was a skylight at the New Jersey State Capitol.
That was very pivotal for me because I was young. I didn't have a large body of work. The idea that I had for the stained glass skylight would be to depict historical places and important points of interest around the state by creating an illustrated map. It's called New Jersey, a 360-degree view. In a way, it was an opportunity to not only highlight things that I think I had a hope would be preserved, and this is in a room where the legislative body would have a chance to see it. So it was kind of a way to also say, this is important. There's a wonderful scene in the south of the Victorian homes in Cape May, and it has a depiction of Blackbeard the pirate, which not many people knew. Blackbeard was also vacationed down in Cape May, you know. There were a couple of great waterfalls that I included from North Jersey. So one is the Great Falls in Paterson. You want to look for the diving horse at Atlantic City. George Washington is in there. Albert Einstein is in there. It's also a small self-portrait. There's a shipwreck going on, and there's a small figure with his arms up in the air, kind of being overwhelmed, and that was sort of me. Over the years, I've done a number of stations for New Jersey Transit. So I've done Edison Station, Red Bank Station, the Pennsauken Transit Center, Lindenwold Station. Edison was one of the first ones that I did, and that actually has leaded glass panels that are protected behind tempered glass pieces. And then later I began to do things that were digitally printed. The last one that I did was the Pennsauken Transit Station, and that one has over 2,000 square feet of digitally printed glass. I would say it's my favorite. The whole thing tells a story as you go through it.
Ken has long been involved with the internationally acclaimed Glass Center at WheatonArts in Millville, New Jersey. He's had a studio there for more than 30 years. On a recent rainy day, he painted a mural during Wheaton's annual Eco Festival. By chance, it was also World Labyrinth Day, so he led a labyrinth walk.
The idea behind World Labyrinth Day from the Labyrinth Society is at 1 o'clock local time across the world, people are encouraged to walk a labyrinth and meditate on world peace and also on the healing of the planet.
He has gone all over the world to create and install glass art. But what he's doing for the town of Runnemede, I think, is extremely special. He has roots there, his family has a strong history there, and I think that passion and that care is symbolic of who he is.
That murals on the businesses actually help with the recognition and also make people feel good about the towns. I am the president of a small arts nonprofit called Reimagine Runnemede, which I started with a couple of my friends. It was sort of three of us got together in 2018 and began to think that there should be maybe something that happened with the arts. And at that same period of time, I ended up purchasing this building. I've seen the ways a lot of other towns have used the arts to help to revitalize the local economy. And some of the projects that we've done have involved doing murals. The first one was a mural on my building. So there were 17 people from the community that came out and helped me paint the mural on the wall here. And then I went off and did other murals on my own through town, and we are continuing to do murals at town.
Ken's hometown studio is just a few doors down from the building where his grandparents had a supermarket in the 1930s and 40s. The building now houses a barbershop and a Polish grocery store.
I painted a mural on their building with a big Polish rooster on it. What ties all of that work together for me is I'm always telling some sort of a story. So it's a story of a community or a town or a personal client. So it's trying to create what is the narrative and then how do I express that.